The audio conference will now begin.
Paul, yes, I can hear you. Sure.
Hello ZENcast, how is everybody doing? Welcome and thanks for coming today. I hope everybody's staying safe with this coronavirus spread in the world. Stay safe out there, keep your loved ones close and protected. So we're here today and let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, by the way, for the US, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's today. So again, this is ZENcast, where you guys can participate. We're facilitating, hoping that you can participate and exchange between peers with engineers, product managers, and so forth. There's a chat there. Feel free to log in. We'll have some polls along the way, so you could vote on those. And basically let us know. There's a survey out there that you can take to let us know how we can better facilitate this particular ZENcast to you. We really want to make it your ZENcast, so the more interaction, the better. And we're going to have Sudipta Roy coming on a little bit later. He's Service Desk Manager, and we'll introduce him in a little bit. But we really want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Remember, the stream delay is about 60 to 90 seconds. I'll keep track of the messaging, so in case you send out a message, I'm not ignoring you. We're going to try and answer those online. We have other engineers tapped in just to kind of monitor that. So feel free to have some interaction with us. Chat, you can have comments, questions, commands. You can do a commands in the chat. And like if we do a survey, it'll give us the link of the survey so we can quickly reply to you on that link without having to type out the full HTTPS. Also replies, if you see somebody that has logged into chat and you wish to respond to them directly, you can put an @ in front of their name and it'll go directly to them. They'll get a highlight on their screen. So be aware of that. We're going to have some polls. It'll be an exclamation vote with a variable, and you'll see that as it comes up in chat. The best YouTube settings we've found, if you click on the gear down below, is 720p 60 HD and turn autoplay off. Sometimes with the automatic settings, it changes some of the dynamics of your viewing of the screen. So I just wanted to let you know that those things are there. Do we have anybody out there? Chat? Say hi. Hope I have audio and everything's going well out there. You can hear me okay. We're We're going to get right into some discussion and news. So we have, of course, this ZENcast is through April, okay? Once a week, Tuesdays through April. You could subscribe on the YouTube channel. I'll send out a tweet. And we also have Facebook, LinkedIn, and those types of things to tap into so you can know when it goes live. If you're busy, it'll remind you. Micro Focus Virtual Universe is going right now. So actually it's the evening over there now, but this week is when they're doing that. So do go out to the Virtual Universe 2020, register for some of those courses, and you can see them online and be able to get some more understanding on the products. USA is coming up in May. So that's what's going on with the conferences. TTP just ended last week. We have a few more community or product news. Hi, Caitlin. Thanks. Mark. Hello. Nice to have you on. Bruce. Good to have you. And Steve. Good to have you this morning. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to chime in. ZENworks reporting server security patches were released for online updates. Remember, go to the administration console and the online updates. You can get those patches for the OS there. Service Desk 8.1.2 was released back in January, as I mentioned last week, and it's available on the ZSD online update channel. We're going to actually do a demonstration of that today. So we're going to go from 7.5 to 8.1.2. The security updates, they're trying to get on a regular quarterly cadence, so be sure to check in quarterly for those particular updates. The next one is in May, but this quarter is already out, so if you haven't updated your OS, feel free to do so through the online update channel. Also, the migration tool. They have a migration tool for the database. MySQL to PostgreSQL and MS SQL to PostgreSQL. So if you wanted to move your database from those platforms to PostgreSQL, you can. And that's available now. They're working on an Oracle. And so keep tuned and we'll let you know when that occurs. For ZENworks Configuration Management, hello, Aaron. Good to see you. ZENworks Configuration Management, we got 2020 Update 1 Beta is currently in session. If you want to register for that, zen@microfocus.com if you're interested. You could talk to the engineers. You can see what's going on weekly with that particular product before it even hits your shelves. So your input's very valuable to us, so we'd love to have you join in on that. Also, there's a Lighthouse program. So the Lighthouse is where you actually put it into production just prior to release, and you have an engineer with you in case anything goes wrong, but typically it's a pre-release of the product, Update 1. Did that a couple times when I was a customer, and it really helped me understand, one, the beta, going through it, and two, doing the Lighthouse, being able to make sure it was up and running. So there again, zen@microfocus.com is your email address to talk to us, anything ZENworks. Okay, even if it's for this particular ZENcast, feel free to do that. Email us there. And Zcm has a database migration tool, Sybase to PostgreSQL, MS SQL to PostgreSQL, and Oracle's version 3. They're documenting it right now. So I'm seeing a target date of April, if not earlier. So that's not official as far as April release, but I know it's getting real close. So I'm just kind of predicting for you that that's going to come right behind the heels of MS SQL, which was released a couple weeks ago. They're working real hard on those database migrations so that you have more options. Zcm March PRU has been released, obviously, and then, as I mentioned last week, the Micro Focus desktop containers 12.6 is out there. So let's go on to our webinar series. So, you know, some of the webinar series have already been passed. If you go out to, let's go out here. If you go out to the webinar links, you'll see them, and it says register, even though they're older. That just means you're going to get to the recording. But feel free to go ahead and click register. You'll be able to get those older recordings with a lot of great information. Okay, the engineers are working real hard, developers are working real hard to get some of this data out for you, and so utilize it. It's great. It's under ZENworks Tips and Information under the Micro Focus website. It's the community series. I always just go to Google and Micro Focus community, ZENworks community, and it takes me right there. So be aware that that's out there. Some of the recent ones we covered last week. We just had one this week, Achieve Zero Touch Windows 10 deployment using ZENworks with MDT. A great series there. And to extend that particular series on imaging, there's one coming up in April, Move to WinPE based imaging by leveraging your existing ZENworks images. So, go out there, check them out, register for that one that's coming up. Participate. We'd love to have you participate in those and see what's coming up with ZENworks. Your interaction really helps us enhance the product to give you what you really need for your environment. So keep that coming. We love your interaction. And finally, we have some forums and articles. We talked last week about the extended security updates for Windows 7 and Server 2008, and Darren was our guest speaker last week. So he helped us understand how we can get those things, and you can tap into it through patch management. You can report on them. You can import them manually, so you can track those CVEs. But go ahead and check that particular article out. There's other articles out there, just a ton of them. There's some new released ones that were beyond what I mentioned last week that came in soon or recently. Emerging threat, no problem. Track it, remediate it, repeat as necessary. Some of the things for Zcm Bundles, using Zcm to migrate Oracle JRE to OpenJRE. We've had some requests on how to do that. And also utilize those, the forums for your interaction between each other, right? We have engineers watching the forums. We'll answer them. But also the interaction between you guys really helps us understand where it's going, and if there's any confusion, we try to update the documentation and that type of stuff. So feel free to do that. And again, we have some database. We mentioned there's some database migration utilities out there. Vertica, understanding Vertica and the monitoring and debugging. And ZSD, there's some out there that I mentioned last week, still present here. ZRS, create your customized ZSD reports in ZRS. And Sudipta's going to talk to us about ZSD today, so stay tuned for that. It'll be neat stuff. There's some neat stuff coming down in ZSD. Micro Focus Service Desk domain. So if you want to connect Service Desk to the domain, you can do that through this particular article, and it's called Micro Focus Service Desk domain. So be aware that those are out there. We want to make sure that you're informed, and that's what it's all about. Let me get this situated real quick, and I gotta switch this. Very good. Okay. And so what's next? Product news. We had product news, webinar news, and so forth. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest today. We got Sudipta Roy, the product manager for ZENworks Service Desk. And Sudipta, are you there?
Hi, Paul. Yes, I'm there.
Hi, Sudipta.
Thanks for the introduction. Hi.
How are you today?
Doing good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a little later out there for you. Thank you for joining us today. It's great. And chat, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to chat that in. This is Sudipta Roy. He's the manager for ZENworks Service Desk. And we have so much to talk about today. Sudipta has volunteered as a guest to come on and talk about Service Desk and some of the exciting things that are coming up. One of the main things we've seen, Sudipta, over the past couple versions is we went to an appliance. And what are the key benefits for having a common appliance framework?
Well, so if people are using ZENworks, Filer, and iPrint, they might be aware of this framework very well. So with this framework, your new installation and upgrade process are entirely hassle-free, unlike standalone installation.
Sure.
And you have a web interface driven configuration management and migration option as well. So uh, you can easily apply your security fixes through online update automatically based upon your predefined schedule. Your digital certificate is also available along with the installation. So another benefit you might experience that when you want to create and import your certificate with your manual steps previously, uh, it was quite troublesome, and that was a lengthier process. But today, with this common appliance framework, it's pretty easy. And not only that, even for the logs perspective, you have a single point access for all the important logs.
Sure.
And most importantly, yeah, right. And most importantly, you will be always alerted when there is any update, whether it's OS patch updates or any kind of security updates are available. You will be notified, and so that you can take action.
Yeah, you really, your engineers have really streamlined this process, and we're going to show that today, going from 7.5 to 8.1.2. And I think with the automated process you've put in place, it's really helped. And having those migration tools as well for the databases if they want to go to another platform. Thank you for doing that. That's fantastic. I'm going to put a poll out there about who in the audience is on what version of Service Desk. So we're going to start a poll. You'll see it in your chat there. Feel free to answer it while we're chatting here. So, what's the difference between update and upgrade when performing Service Desk enhancements?
Okay. But before that, I just wanted to quickly touch upon, like you said, that on the deployment options. So there are quite a few different options that we are supporting today. So we started with .ova for VMware, but today we have extended for .zen, which is like for SUSE Zen server, then .xva, which is for Citrix Zen server, and then .vht for a Microsoft Hyper-V. So that way you
Wow,
have plenty of options.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. We're enhancing those to the other platforms of the hypervisors. That's fantastic.
That's right. And coming to your question about the difference between update and upgrade, yes. So I hear from quite a few of our customers initially was a little confused about these two options. But those options, if you know it, you would understand that those are very well defined, and there's a particular purpose for that. So normally, the update method is used for any kind of small patch releases, such as bug fixes, security fixes, or for any minor enhancements. So, and an update can either be performed manually or it can be automated. So there are two options. And when it is automated, you can actually have a recurring schedule, and that can run by daily, weekly, or monthly. So, and basically, you know, that's the purpose for update. But when it comes to upgrade, that is mainly for any major or minor releases, and it can be done through either online or offline option.
Okay.
Um, so, and there basically you have to go through the, the accepting the EULA. So basically there you will be having a different update channels. So normally our upgrade comes from an individual channel that can be major and minor version of that channel. And, you can also do an offline upgrade as well. That's a normal process where you install a new appliance and then you add your second disk
Sure.
attached to that appliance. So basically, so that's some key difference between update and upgrade.
Gotcha. Great. Well, what if they have a different type of ticketing system? Are you able to migrate into Service Desk? Because if you have ZENworks, you have Service Desk, at least two licenses, right? So, can they? What are the advantages of if you have ZENworks configuration manager and propping up a Service Desk service desk instance so that, I mean, they could use the store, they can maybe check out the ticketing or migrate even over from another ticketing solution?
Yeah, that's a very strong use case. Although it's not so easy at the beginning for us to achieve, but we did it. So today we have that kind of capability, and particularly when we moved into the new design framework, we have exposed our REST SDK, and using that SDK, basically you can map your say if somebody is using a different service desk system application, so you can map your your requestable or stored informations, and then directly can migrate the data from that legacy or the old service desk system to the new one, which is the ZENworks Service Desk. And so basically it's an API driven solution. It takes a little while because you have to thoroughly map those data with the right set of APIs. But once you do that, your purpose is done. And just to share with you that we have successfully done one such migration to one of our large customers recently in US.
Nope. There you go. You broke up a little bit. Large customer?
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh, yeah. I'm sorry. So, but I'm saying that we have done that migration successfully with one of our large customers recently. So that's a good news that I would like to share. And that was
That's fantastic.
that huge database that we have migrated from their legacy service desk product to ZENworks Service Desk.
Well, and I know if you have Service Desk in ZENworks, you can bring up the store and basically have your customers or users that are on the network you could have predetermined applications that they can just pull directly from ZENworks on their own, so they don't have to place a service ticket. They could just go on in and select it from the web browser and actually get the application. So I know that's fantastic to be able to just automate that, so you're not distracted with the service desk isn't distracted with another call, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's a pretty easy process.
Yeah. In one of these upcoming weeks, we're going to go ahead and tie the ZENworks Service Desk to ZCM and ZRS, so we can kind of show how everything ties together. And I think that'll be pretty exciting. I think it's just fantastic that we can automate some of these, and Service Desk is actually free 2 licenses if you have ZCM. So that's a great advantage for customers out there. So there's different things about Service Desk. There's the standard version and there's the ITIL version. So how many processes are like Pink certified, which is the certification for ITIL?
Oh, we have 10 services for that. So it starts with the change management, then incident management, knowledge management, request fulfillment, release and deployment management. I know there are not many customers using currently the release and deployment management, but we have a very strong functionality for that. Maybe at a later point of time, Paul, if you like, we can demonstrate how the release and deployment management work.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, and we have our problem management, we have service asset and configuration management, service level management, service catalog management, service portfolio management. So yeah, I think I have called out all 10, right? So
right. And so, I mean, there's things in Service Desk, like there's items you can bring in from ZENworks or other ways, and then you have hardware and software. Those can be configured as like a service category, right?
that's right. So previously it was not possible, but with 8.1.2 we started giving that options where you can actually convert. Basically, you can use your software or hardware and then make it as a service category. You have that option.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And there's this thing called the dynamic form. Give me a little explanation on that.
Oh, that's a great addition. One of the most significant addition for 8.1x release. So we heard over the last few years from our customers, they always appreciate our quick call facility, quick request creation. But at the same time, they say that when uh, the customers goes and tries to raise a request very quickly, they may end up not putting enough information what a technician requires. So sometimes the information is so primitive that for a technician it's a nightmare to understand what's the problem, and there are a lot of quite discussions or the multiple chain of asking the questions again, calling the customers and understanding what is the problem, and then getting the actual problem and start working on that. So it normally creates a lot of extra time to understand the problem. So how to solve that kind of situation when somebody can quickly raise a request but don't miss to put the right set of information. How
Sure.
can we, from a technician perspective, help our customers to get the right information? So that was the call. And then we thought of bringing in this dynamic form builder concept. So using dynamic form builder as a technician, or it's not a technician cannot create a form, so it's a supervisor authority. So if you log in as a supervisor, you can create your dynamic form, and with the dynamic form you can have your preset informations that you can tag with your quick call, and you can ask those questions. And I'm sorry. And there are quite a few different options for that. So you have various different options. For example, multiple choice, true, false, or any text-based options, or currency level, timing level. So there are various different options are predefined. So you can select any one of that. You can put it there. You can provide your options. You can have a default option set for that. And once you make the form ready, you just attach the form with your quick call. And as soon as you attach it with the quick call as a technician, then when your customer raises a request using the same quick call, that form appears with them and it gives all the default answer. So your customer might just go with the default answer, and if they want to change it, they can simply change the options and raise the request. So with that, you have all sorts of information, but at the same time, it's a very quick request creation.
So you've enhanced the quick calls and being able to add that flexibility for the customers for this to relieve some frustration for the customer that they might have.
That's right.
Yep. Good.
And we just to share a little bit of our future direction here. So although we started with having this dynamic form associated only with the quick call, but we're also looking forward to add it for our store items as well, so that
fantastic.
the customer can raise the store items with the same set of information.
That's been some requests from the customers. I know that they've asked us about that at support. So that's fantastic. That's coming. So how do you? I understand you can actually initiate imaging through Service Desk.
Oh, that's right. And that we have added again as part of 8.1. So the other bundle, we so far having the Android bundle, iOS bundle, Windows bundle. So we added that pre-imaging bundle. So the thing is that it's very simple at this moment, and it's also towards the direction, towards the strategy that we have taken a couple of years back when we, taken, the call to redesign or refactor the product to make it more, suitable for the present need of the world.
Sure.
And one of them was the self-service and automation. So towards that self-service and automation, we thought, how about like somebody just raise a request saying that, hey, I would like to say upgrade my system, or I would like to take an image of my system. So as soon as the request is created, uh, the request uh, for the request to create, you need to have that the imaging bundle present in your store, and for that, all you need to do that today you have an option to import imaging bundle to your ZENworks store, and basically ZENworks. Then you have to make it the capable store capable. I know that you will be showing it how you can bring the bundle to store.
Sure.
The step involved there is so the steps involve, like, you have to make it store capable and then promote it to the store.
Right.
So as soon as you promote it with the extension of the pre-boot bundle, then your end user or your customer can just pick that particular bundle from store and just raise a request. That's all. As soon as that request gets approved by the item manager or anyone in the hierarchy, so the imaging takes place. Imaging initiation takes place, and the end user gets a mail asking that your imaging is yet to start. Can you restart? Can you reboot your system? And the moment the reboot happens, the imaging starts.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the protection of them going to the store and just selecting that image and then wiping out their data? So you have an approval process in place and all of that ahead of time to safeguard the user. So that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
and so I've heard about the PWA option. Give me a little more, give the audience a little bit more feedback on what this option is.
Okay, that's really progressive, I would say. So PWA is a quick. It's a very quick and easy to get, and it doesn't require a download and platform dependencies.
So that's a progressive web application?
That's right.
Okay,
So
so
and
basically,
it's
are we talking
it's a
is it for the technician or the user or?
okay. So you know today for the new end user portal,
Sure.
we have actually converted our mobile applications to progressive web applications. So it's a replacement. So and that way there are quite a few benefits. So but tomorrow with the new technician portal, we are bringing the same approach, and I can tell you why we have gone ahead to that direction. To
Please.
answer your first question, so the first of all, like I said, that it's easy to download and it doesn't require any kind of platform dependencies. And if you compare with native mobile apps, PWA consumes less memory of data.
Gotcha.
Um, you can take example of, say, Twitter PWA. It is a very lightweight application, uh, but without sacrificing the convenience of a native app. So basically, it functions like a native app that allows for app-style gestures and navigations,
Sure.
and it has service workers. So basically, those service workers, what they do, that helps to uh, that load instantly, and even when the connectivity is low, that is very important. And it also has a pre-catching mechanism, so that your app stays up to date at all times.
Fantastic. Well, now that's the automation there is great. So, and this is for a technician if he's on the road and out and about, he basically can get his tickets and respond to them as he needs to on his
That's right.
mobile device. Great. Okay. And then I know that we've tied back a little bit. We tied Service Desk in with the ZENworks reporting service, and I mentioned an article earlier. I think that there's a cool solution out there about um, being able to get the domain in from Service Desk so that you could do reporting on this. What's the benefit of integrating this solution to ZRS?
Oh, certainly. So if you see the reports available, the canned reports in Service Desk, we have almost, I think, more than 300 reports. But those are legacy reports, and I hear from our customers that they sometimes don't get what they're looking for. They might have to spend a lot of time to find the right report that they want. Although we have added new reports, just to add here, in 8.8.0, we have added quite a few new reports on the cost perspective.
Yes, you have.
So, yeah, so, but again, our end user don't get the flexibility to customize the reports. in today's world, report has gone into far ahead. So it's much more interactive. People have more drill down facilities, and you have different graphical representations and all. We have it, but and we also have a plan to reform the complete reporting capability of service desk product itself. But so far, for this time, like interim time frame, we thought, why don't we make use of ZRS, what has a rich reporting functionality from Jasper Soft. So then we have actually gone ahead and added this, the facility, the capability by having our ZSD domain placing in reporting server. And it's very easy. It's like few clicks where you can, enable the ZSD reporting. So basically, if I just to touch up how to configure it, would you like me to talk about
please.
it? I can.
Yeah, give it a little insight on the configuration of that.
Okay, so basically, as I said, that you can actually create a fairly large report having too many parameters in a tabular form and set your own sort order to set the view. But the thing is that there are like 3 steps here. So first you have to get the metadata up. So when you have say, you have to choose the data first from the available source. For example, you can select the request and configuration to create a report related to request, and then you can associate them. And finally, what you can do, like you can select the report type, what is the chart or table, and drag the metadata from your measures and fields section and drop it to your columns and rows, and then your report is ready. So I think when I talk about it, it might be a little difficult to visualize. So maybe when the ZRS application up, then it will be more easier to introspect how it is doable.
Oh, certainly, yeah. There's a few. I know Jason's put out a few even on reporting, but there's a few different reports and videos out there on that. And I'm knowing how that process goes. You explained it quite well. But if you weren't aware of it, yeah, the document that you have out there is a step-by-step, and I really appreciate that. That'll give the customer a nice, easy way to at least get it to the point where they can start doing reports. So that's a nice document out there in the cool solutions.
Thank you. I feel that would be helpful to, like, the JSON's document is more about how you can configure your ZSD domain within ZRS. And my document that I have put in recently is talking about how can you configure it quickly to see your reporting data.
To see the reporting data, and that's really what we want, because the CEO or CXO asks for a particular set of parameters, and being able to just tap into ZRS to say these people got this latest update. If there's an OS update or something like that, you can easily tap into it with ZRS. If you have the service, or how many people have requested this particular, or how many people were down, those types of things. So, yeah, it's a powerful tool. Since ZRS has come on the ZENworks product line, it's really become a powerful tool. So, I think there's a lot of advantages to it, and that's free too, right? There's no licensing for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and that's downloadable. Audience, that's downloadable on your portal. So know that ZSD and ZRS are both available to you right now if you have ZENworks. Well, what else is coming on the sunrise here? Coming up in futures. We got 8.2 coming up. What are we looking at?
So, like I just touched upon, we just finished bringing a new design for the end user portal. So now we are moving ahead for the technician portal. So as part of 8.2, we first want to introduce the Angular based design framework for tech portal. So initially we have planned for the few areas which are being used most. So we have gone with an 80-20 rule. So we just, I have met with quite a few customers and then pointed out what are the areas being used most. And we saw the request creation, request summary page, request listing, and the quick request. Quick request, although those not being used too much because of its limitation of the functionality, but we hear that this is also an area that people like to use most if it is usable, if it has the right level of information. So we have focused these 4 areas first as part of 8.2, and we also would like to do a bit of report enhancements, particularly to introduce a consolidated data for the complete request management, starting from when the request has been created, who has worked on, when it has been ended. So basically that what items it belongs to, so many other things together, instead of like fragmenting it into different reports. So we are planning that as well. And one other major enhancements that we are going to do on the framework. So we want to upgrade the common appliance framework to /15. So majorly these are the enhancements that we are targeting, we are planning for 8.2.
Fantastic. Well, each enhancement just surprises me more that you've added to the product, and a lot of those are either from the ideas portal or customer visits or just background in the product and what we've discussed with customers. So again, customers,
That's right.
keep that stuff coming. We want to do what's best for you and your environment, and yeah, I'm excited that we're providing those things to our customers.
Yeah, and I am happy to share that, like with this new design, I am covering almost 56 ideas from the idea portal. So we'll be addressing 56 ideas when we'll be redesigning the request summary, request listing, and request creation. And just to add on here, the biggest pain point for our technicians, for our customers, that for request creations or request editing was again, divided into multiple screens. It was a fragmented solution, but today it's a one-page solution. It's a complete different look.
Right.
I see even my ZENworks counterparts, my colleagues from there are being jealous that when they can do some part of that there, we are looking forward that as well. But we just started with Service Desk.
That's great. I think having that rebuild really gives you a lot more flexibility and diving into those things that we weren't able to do in the product prior to. So this is a fantastic enhancement.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to close with? This has been really great. You've given us a lot of details on what's coming up and what's currently in the product. What's your final shout out here?
Okay, so basically, like if I go a little forward and to give you like what's the immediate roadmap beyond 8.2. So I can just highlight that, okay, in what direction we are thinking and where you want to land up to. So do you want me to update a bit or?
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Yeah, so on that line, first of all, we want to complete our the current the design work that we have started for technician portal and the admin portal. But we are also thinking to add some features. For example, in 8.2 itself, although it's not, I cannot guarantee that. I'm still trying to add in, depending on the development bandwidth. First of all, I don't want to push the date further. So to holding the commitment of the timeline, if you can accommodate, we'll do. But otherwise, we'll do in the subsequent release. And so this is about like while you print, any kind of request details, generating a QR code for scanning. Yeah, so by scanning that QR code, you can actually open the order, work order.
Nice.
So that's one thing. And then another thing is on the content generation perspective, between during 8.3, that's the plan, that option to add a video to knowledge base article. So today you don't have that, but we are thinking on that line. Then another thing is on the LDAP update perspective. So you can also update your, the contact number at LDAP from service desk. So we here, although it's not a big functionality as such, but quite a few of our customers complain that if the customer's number changes in LDAP and in the service desk, just because those users are already imported, the number shows different. So, and day-to-day basis, we use service desk. We don't go back to the LDAP. So if somebody's number changes, if we just update in the service desk, why don't you go and update in the LDAP? So we are thinking to provide that functionality as well. And yeah.
Fantastic. Oh no, that's great. I know we look forward to 8.1.2. 8.2 with the new final rebuild of the technician portal. What kind of time frame are we looking at for that?
So for 8.2, we are looking sometime September timeframe.
Okay, so second or third quarter. That's great. Okay, so we have something to look forward to. We'll probably have a couple other. I noticed that you've been doing the subversion, so like 8.1.1, 8.1.2. So those are adding what? Just fixes, or are those also enhancements?
Okay, so when we run our beta program, we hear quite a few the customer feedbacks, concerns, or some bugs that we can't address for the main release. So what we do that we took a plan that immediately after the release, how can we address those concerns immediately without asking our customers to wait for another main release. And so it's a combination of both bugs and the different wish lists when they see the new design. So
Sure.
Sometimes customer comes up with an idea, okay, you have done this, why don't you do that as well? So, and we try to cover that. So for example, if you look at 8.1.1, I can just give a quick highlight that what kind of issues that we have addressed.
Sure.
So do you want me to go through that?
Sure, give a quick list.
Okay, so for example, we made that item selection as optional, particularly when you raise a request. So that is for the generic request option that we had in the past. Then again, in the login screen, so we hear that with the new login screen, although it's quite clean, looking nice, the modern look and feel, but although we have compromised the space where somebody can put a legal information. So we have added that as well as part of 8.1. Then we have also added the provision to view details of an alert. So in 8.1, we have that alerts going in, but you can't see the details, but you have added the details of the alert also on the customer portal. Then resolving request in the customer portal, previously requires a note. So now it's not mandatory, you can do that. And then again, like you have touched upon before, that service category. So today the mobile device documentation and software are configured as a service categories. So there are quite a few such kind of enhancements we have added along with some bug fixes also for the 8.1. And similarly, we have done some bug fixes for 8.1.2 as well.
Yeah, I've noticed it's kind of nice that you're able to get some of those quick features in without having to wait 6 months for the next release. So that's really, I think the customers look forward to that. And again, checking out those ideas portals and constantly watching those. It's something that I think is in place that as long as they use it, I think it's a great advantage for them.
Yeah, that's right. And just to touch upon one point, maybe towards your previous question about that the forward-looking plan.
Yes.
I hear from a lot of our customers that they had a concern about that email part of it. So they wanted to have that the functionality, more interactive, more helpful. So we are also looking ahead to enhance that overall email functionality, the emailing when it comes to that updated ticket for any status via email, or say ability to forward a ticket with all information such as like
Sure.
ticket history, then attached embedded pictures, and then basically, and also like while generating tickets from email, uh, say whether the content of the email should be retained with the existing format, because that was something also sometimes people have raised their concern that okay, we lost the formatting, so it's the readability was compromised. So
Right.
we are taking some the small steps to go ahead toward that direction where we completely would reform that email functionality.
Fantastic. Well, that's you keep improving the product, and I really appreciate. I know that the audience appreciates everything you're doing in the product, and it just keeps getting better. So we're excited to see as it grows, 8.2 and all the enhancements coming up. It's going to be a great rebuild on the whole product when you're done with 8.2, and I think it's fantastic. So. But
Thank you.
I appreciate you and your team, how they're developing it. Again, if there's any questions out there in chat, feel free this last couple seconds to shout them out. And Sudipta, I just want to thank you for being a guest today, and appreciate your time. I know it's late for you, but you're still here and letting us know all the information. It's been fantastic talking to you.
Oh, it was a great pleasure for me. Thanks for inviting, Paul.
You bet. We'll be talking to you soon, and we'll have some of those enhancements displayed here on the ZENcast as we get farther into April.
Oh, sure. I would love to demonstrate that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a great evening, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Bye now.
You are the only
Okay. So that was Sudipta Roy, Product Manager for ZENworks Service Desk. Those of you that are working with Service Desk, those of you that don't have it installed, you may have it for free. Throw up an appliance, put the store out there, and have your bundles come over, and then your users can take those Adobe Reader reinstalls and the generic enterprise applications that you have. Let them go ahead to the web portal and retrieve those, and at the very bare minimum, that at least lightens the load on the help desk that in your organization. So think about that, and we're going to move on to last week. We demonstrated the Zcm appliance from from 17.4 to 2020, and I had a failure, right? It had an issue, and I appreciate this audience, this community, because they were even emailing me saying, "Hey, was it this? Was it that?" Or I've seen it also. And so what we're going to do here is at least follow up on that before we go into our service desk. What I was getting was the disk space. There's a few things you look for when you're migrating to a new platform for ZENworks 2020, and one of them may be this, where you haven't run the prerequisite. Okay, so it'll tell you shut down, make sure you run the prerequisite, because certain things have to be in place. It wants to make sure that you're ready to go and minimize any issues that you might have. So be sure to run the prerequisites. This is the one that I was having. No, actually not this one. This one came up, and basically TID 7024440 asks you to let us know if you're having this issue. We have a fix for it in-house. It occurs occasionally. It's occurred on mine, and but I was surprised last week because I hadn't seen it up until, of course, the demo gods came in, and we had some issues with it. But basically, this one we do have a fix for it. So just want to let you know that TID is out there. Be sure to contact us, and we can get you a solution for that if you continue to get that. My issue was also that we came up and it looked like it was the first primary, like it was a brand new zone. So it didn't recognize, even though I had a second disk, it didn't recognize it. And I was using an unsupported hypervisor, the VMware Workstation, as opposed to ESXi. So having those multiple volumes and snapshots in there was an issue with VMware Workstation. It seems to work great most of the time. I just ran into it this time. So they're getting me some equipment so we can get ESXi, so we can be on supported platform of hypervisor. So you have that. And what we wanted to see was this. Basically, after you do your migration, you put in your passwords, and it goes through, finds the disk, finds the identity of your 2017 zone or primary server, and then it fills that in for the 2020. You should come up with this just to complete the appliance migration. And all you do is basically check the necessary steps, hit next, and it'll start the progress up, and so forth. We had, if you remember, we had licensing come up and stuff. So it's like, no, we don't need to be relicensed because it's just a migration of the appliance. So do yourself a favor, make sure you're checking your documentation and all prerequisites on equipment and software. So that's what happened last week. What I'd like to do now is, let's see, I got a, yeah, that's good. We're gonna go to the service desk. And again, follow the documentation is my final step on that one. So let's go over to service desk. There are some cookbooks out there. If you want an upgrade strategy, if you're on a lower version of Service Desk, go out to the cookbook. 702.1.281 for version 7 and 702.3.510 for 8. It'll give you some upgrade options, and you can kind of map out how you want to progress through your migration, going directly to an appliance, or if you need to go to another Windows or Linux box before the appliance. But this will give you all the requirements for the server OS, the database, cores, and so forth. Okay, hypervisors. So be aware that that's there, and it's in the cookbook on both of them. Cookbooks are pretty valuable. It also has videos of upgrades, so you can actually visually see what happens in the video before you actually do it on your production. Again, if you have a chance, throw up an appliance and then run it through on appliance, because it doesn't take that much work, and the appliance is fairly, you can make it real small for a test environment. So be aware that those are there. We're going to head into our demonstration. Are there any questions out there in chat? It's awful quiet out there in chat. You with me? Let me know if you're still with me. Give me a little bit of excitement out there. We have a MS SQL server, as well as a version 7.5. We're going to upgrade it to 8.0. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to log in with the browser. Let me get to that channel. (9443). Let's get this over here. Come on now. Okay, we're going to log in as the SD admin or root. We can see our service desk is here. We have an online update. We're going to register our online update. We're going to check. We're already registered. Okay. Needed patches are 0. Installed patches. Let's look and see what we installed already. Exactly, Johan. Thank you so much. Didn't clean up my snapshots before I did it last time. And that's what caused some of my frustration last week with the online demonstration. So yeah, good recommendation. Snapshots clean up any old snapshots before migration, copying the disk to the new appliance. So thank you. That's one of the steps that should really be looked after. Right. Oh, good point. Yeah, over 72 hours, over 3 days. So minimize those. Okay, thank you, Johan. So you can see by me registering in, I'm at. Let's hang on a second. Let's go back over here. Let's go to our service desk. We'll log in. I don't have my AD up, so I'll just log in as admin. We'll go over to licenses. Oh, this is. Hang on. I thought we were already at 7.5. Hold on. Let me bring up the right one. Snapshots. 7.5. Let's try this. This will take a minute. Sorry, I thought I had it prepared. We're going to go here, and we're going to go here. We're going to go up here. There we go. It'll just take a minute for them to pop up. I love these appliances, how quick they come up. So we noticed on our browser that it was already at 8.1.2. I didn't revert back far enough. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to do an in-place migration. Okay, we're at 7.5. The OS has not changed. So you remember Sudipta mentioned that 8.2 will probably have a Celeste 15. Well, we'll have to do a side-by-side for that particular migration, going from 8.x to 8.2. But for now, since the OS hasn't changed, we'll be able to just do an in-place migration or upgrade. Let me open up our browser again. Let's go back over here. Jetty will be starting up. Let's see if we can get it going. Give it a minute. So in place is basically you'll do it all through online updates. They've streamlined it real well. Here we go. Let's log in. I'm at 7.5. Okay. We have an online update. We're going to go ahead and do online updates. Now I'm going to register. I'm going to pull this aside. I got to put in my particular license. Remember, when you're doing the license on this is without a dash for the online updates. The licenses in Zcm that have dashes, that's for the license of the product itself. So let me log in real quick. And you'll find this in your portal, your customer portal, under Service Desk. So let me move this back. Should log me in with that. Okay, so it's going to, oh, there's a registration failure. Oh. Hang on, let me make sure I didn't. Try again. Stand by. It worked last night, but isn't that what we always say? Register. Wait here and see if it works. In the meantime, we should be able to see We're up on both of those. I'm having an issue with credentials. Let me try a different key. Maybe I mistyped it in my notes. Sorry, chat. I have you guys on, so we got internet. Service desk. Online. Update activation. Let's try this. Trying again. Okay. Taking a little bit longer. Typically when it takes longer, it's a good sign. I know as soon as I shift that browser over there, what's going to happen? All right, here we go. It's still going. So we're good. I think we're good. Hang on. I must have had it typed wrong. Very good. Okay. So I'm registered into 8.0. Okay, so I'm a 7.5, or I'm registered into the 7.5. And we'll notice at the bottom there's a appliance product upgrade available for 7.5. So we're gonna you can do multiple things. Obviously there's needed patches here, but you can schedule this. Okay, you can update now, which is what we're gonna do. And then it'll ask us all needed patches, security patches only. So you have a little bit of flexibility in here. We're gonna agree with all the licenses and hit OK. Now we'll take the OS and the Service Desk release. What the Service Desk release means is there's a product upgrade, and because it's ZENworks Service Desk Appliance product upgrade, and it'll put a product upgrade tile in our administration console. And when that's there, we can then tap into the next release of Service Desk. So this will be a good way to show that. Again, that registration, we do get some customers with confusion on putting in a license key into the online update. It's a different key without the dash. So I make note of that. Again, make sure you have backups of both your database, if it's internal or external. Yeah, Bruce, right? Demo always works during the practice. I know. But it's working now, so I'm happy. Might help if I don't fat finger my license keys. Make sure you have backups. Consolidate your snapshots all together so you're nice and fresh and ready to go. And I think that was part of my issue with the ZENworks last week, as well as on an unsupported hypervisor. I didn't compress them. I had 4 disks in there. So this is going. It's installing these OS updates for Celeste 12 SP3 and the service upgrade. I'm looking to see what else we have. Should finish fairly quick. One thing about the Linux is it's quite quick. So I do enjoy the Linux platform for that reason. So do we have anybody that has had issues or comments about the online update process? Service desk? Anything out there, chat? This is, we have, I don't know, I didn't see how many. It'll come back with another screen to mention, oh, by the way, this is what we're doing. So it's loading them up. As we progress through here. So again, the OS hasn't changed, so we can do online updates. Here's our screen for the message output installs. 2 new patches, 3 packages are going to be upgraded. It goes through each one of the sets. Okay, and then it's also going to be upgraded to 7.5-01, which will be more towards the 8.0 spectrum. So you'll see in just a minute how this works. So we're going to hit OK. Now if we refresh, obviously we don't have any more needed patches, but we can see that there were installed patches. Okay, and you can see that we had our feature installed here. If we close this particular box and we do a reboot, you'll notice that there's no product upgrade here yet. You have your online update, but not product. As soon as we reboot, it'll then recognize that new RPM and give us a new tile. So let's wait on that. We can see it rebooting here. Wait for it to come up. The Jetty services come up quite quickly. So I'll just kind of wait a second here, go back over to my browser, try and push through this. There's 9443. You can kind of get a hint when it's going to actually take. There we go. And this will it's probably still too soon to log in. Oh, no, there we go. Notice a product upgrade. We're at 7.5. We got a product upgrade. If we go ahead and select product upgrade, it's going to say we're going to go to Service Desk 8.1.0. All right. Eventually we want to get to 8.1.2, but let's go ahead and hit start. Okay. It'll say accept the license agreement. And we're going to register now into the 8.0 using the same key we used before. Let me do that. Let me find that key. Go. Okay, let's try that. Again, it's the same key. Go ahead and register. Now what it's doing is registering into the 8.0 portal, our online update, to be able to get all the 8.1 update stuff. So that's why you have to do it again, because each channel is separate, right? It's separate, just 7.5. We had 7.5 updates, and now we have 8x updates in this channel. So we do need to register into that channel. And this is Okay, so for updates, it's registered. Notice that we have here an 8.1.2. So in the 8.0 channel or 8X channel, it said, oh, you have another update service release. Do you want to install it? We're going to say yes. Okay. Get over there. And again, if you have ZENworks, you have Service Desk, and you'll have those keys in your portal. You'll be ready to prop one up and kind of explore. Even if you don't want to get into ticketing, you can distribute some of your bundles automatically for your users and brand it, and like Sudipta said, put licensing and so forth. Waiting for this. Okay, so not too many comments in chat. Is there any additional advice that maybe some of the engineers have, Johan, or others that have experienced service desks? Do you have anything you want to shout out? So we're going to go to 8.1.2. We're going to go ahead and do that update and hit OK. And of course it says reboot needed, and you'll see that this one will go away. So shout out in chat if you have any other comments about this particular process. One thing that I found pretty standard is because you can go every 2 versions. So if you're there's 7.4, 7.5, 8.0, 8.1. If you're going you can do 2 bumps at a time. So if you're going from 7.0 to 7.5, for instance, there's 2, 3, 4. You'd have to go 7.0 to 7.2, 7.2 to 7.4, and that's where the Cookbook comes in handy to be able to map that out. So for every bump, not necessarily version, but every bump, I try to tell my customers about an hour, because if you have to fall back, you need to be able to revert or something to get the system back up. So your downtime, basically, I tell them about an hour per bump. Which is really more than enough time. But you may need to do snapshots and those types of things. And do your snapshots with it powered down is always best, obviously, and then consolidate them, as Johan mentioned. So now you can see that we're at 8.1.2, okay? And we have online updates. We don't have that product upgrade. Oh, okay. No, we don't need to worry about that. We'll worry about that on my system again. But when you get that, that's basically a communicating. It could be that the service isn't up yet because I just rebooted. Okay, so that's our upgrade for Service Desk. Is there any questions on that? You can see that it's pretty static here. It just works. They've made it real smooth, and I don't know if they're coming out with an 8.1.3, but if they do, it'll be the same process. It probably won't be a OS upgrade. It'll be just through the online update. You go in and check to see if there's anything out there. Again, they're going on a regular cadence. Every 3 months, they're going to have the updates available for the OS and the product. So make sure you check this at least once a quarter, so that you can get the latest updates in your service desk and keep it secure. I don't have a whole lot more on that. Let me see what else I have going on here. So again, I'm hoping this is a good way to reach. We got a lot of backing from product managers, engineers, and putting this all together. So We really hope this is informative for you. We're going to have Vikram Goyal on next week. He's a product manager for ZENworks Configuration Management. He's going to have some exciting news on upcoming Update 1, maybe how the beta's going, any Lighthouse. We'd like to reach out to you if you're interested in any of those programs, even if you're uncertain. Reach out to zen@microfocus.com and we'll respond to you and answer your questions that you need. A couple of things that I want to check out real quick as we go through this. We're going to have a similar format next week, but I did want to ask if this ZENwork or this ZENcast was informative. There's a poll open now in the chat, and all you have to do is put, and I'll put an example, exclamation vote, and then put 1, or I'm sorry, yes or no, and let us know. Also, let us know if in the stream, if you're watching this as a recording, do put a like or comments down below. I'll have any links to the cookbooks and so forth in the recorded session, so you'll see that in the description down below. But if this is informative, please let us know. We'd like to make sure that we're reaching you in the right way, and any way that we can enhance this and make it better. I'm working on getting a second video so that we can actually have face-to-face conversations with our guests, so it's not just me being the talking head. Again, I don't have anything else. If there's any other questions, I'll wait a minute after this poll's done to see if this is informative. Please let me know, or let us know about your experiences here. We're going straight through every week up through April, and then we'll reevaluate and see what the timing and cadence is of ZENcast, and then we'll announce how we're gonna move forward with this. If there's enough hype and excitement, it'll be great. We'll continue this and maybe even share it amongst others. We'd like to get EMEA involved and Asia Pacific involved, and so we're not excluding them right now. It's just a pilot, and we look forward to enhancing this to all the areas so that they can get it in their time zone. Okay, that's about it from me. I don't see any other questions in chat. So if there's no other questions, I think we're going to shut down and give the day back to you. Keep safe out there with the coronavirus. Keep your heartfelt ones close at hand, and keep everybody safe. And happy St. Patrick's Day. And we will be talking with you next week, same time, same channel. Thank you much. Oh, yep. Okay, so there's my discussion for next week. Okay, it'll be on Zcm. That's this week. Next week will be Zcm. Have a good day. Thanks.